Which of the following is the basic principles of library classification? That is principles of helpful sequence. Who formulated the fundamental classification principles in library science? S.R. Ranganathan. The principle that facilitates users to locate the document easily is principle of helpful sequence. Principle of consistent classification means same rule must apply to the similar situation. Literary warrant refers to the existence of literature on the subject. Principle of modulation is related to the existing class number to meet the needs. What is the main function of the classification? That is subject arrangement. The principle of collection refers to placing similar items together. Principle of graduation of speciality is applied when a specific subjects are grouped under broader ones. The principle of canon of exclusiveness ensures every subject should have a unique place. Which principle helps in deciding the order of facets? That is principle of citation order. Principle of facet sequence is used to arrange facets logically. Which of the following is not a facet category in PMEST? That is environment. Citation order is determined based on the facet sequence. In CC, what is the correct order of the facet? That is PMEST. The principle of notation hospitality means notation should welcome new subject. Which principle ensures synthesis of a new subject is possible? That is principle of flexibility. The principle of canonical sequence refers to the standard order of the classes. The principle that supports classification from general to specific is graduation of speciality. Principle of helpful sequence should be useful while assigning class number, preparing set lists, preparing schedules. Classification schemes are generally arranged in logical order, which principle ensure that each document fits into a single category. That is exclusiveness. In classification, hospitality in array means space is given for future expansion in classes, which principle ensures a subject is placed under the most relevant class, that is specificity. The principle that encourages synthesis of a new combination is synthetic, which classification system is based on the principle of enumeration, that is DDC, which consists which principle ensures logical progression of the knowledge, that is principle of hierarchy. Hospitality in chain refers to the providing scope for the related topics. Classification system must to provide predictability. Principle of parsimony in classification means avoiding excessive use of the notation. Collocation is primarily concerned with the subject proximity. Principle of relevance suggests assigning class based on main subject. In library classification, hierarchy refers to the subject structure from broad to narrow. Classification must meet with user oriented people, that is accessibility. Specific entry helps to provide exact classification, which principle allows rearranging of schedules in the future, that is flexibility. Which classification principle deal with the vocabulary control, verbal plan. Which principle guide the synthesis of compound subject, that is principles of synthesis. Which classification system use the principle of facet analysis, that is column classification. The principle of subordinate class indicates subordinate topics must follow main class. Which of these is an objective of classification principle, that is improve arrangement and the retrieval. Notation is related to the classification principle. Which principle deal with short and memorable notation, that is mnemonics. Which classification principle ensure user friendliness, that is helpful sequence. Who applied classification principle first in a faceted system, that is Ranganathan. Principle of teleological modulation is useful for the achieving the purpose of the classification. Which principle is useful when designing schedules, that is facet sequence. A principle of forecasting means a future expansion in classification. Which principle ensures clarity in the notation, that is clarity. In classification, the ultimate aim is to arrange material logically and the accessibility.